Hey, everybody. Welcome. It's Sunday, uh, April 21st. Oh, hi, Bob. I see you on the camera. Oh, hi.
I'm cute, right?
Why, why are you trying to steal the show?
Well, it's only you and Mason, so I've only got you to steal.
Oh, okay. Okay. Now you threw me off. I'm all flustered now. Good
It's
Lord.
because
All
I'm
right, let's
cute
start
and you
over
saw
again.
me.
All right.
You saw me right there. See,
Oh
right,
my God.
right.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah. You busted me. Totally busted me. It's Sunday, April 21st, and it's your next installment of the Republic Room with Jason and with Jester and Mason. Welcome everybody. If you're new here, we invite you to listen to all the other calls um, from previous days and get yourself caught up on some information. Also, don't forget to check out all the links in the room and any questions or comments that you have, feel free to reach out to me, the elephant in the room, or drop it into the living room or the Q&A room. And so I guess we'll get started. So, Jester, what are we going to talk about today?
We are going to talk about land. I think we talked to some people and kind of told them we were going to be able to, try to answer some questions that they already had this weekend, anyhow. So we talk about property, which is full and complete ownership of the allodial titles and the land patents and the allodial freeholder. We're going to talk about that for a minute. We are going to talk also about the other side of the story, which is the BS that's going on right now. The feudal titles, the grant deeds, the trust deed notes, and then grantor, grantee, and all caps, and blah blah blah. You got the property tax you got to pay over there, and you're not supposed to have to do that. So we're not Mason hammer down on this for a minute because he's probably going to give you more information than you ever heard about this subject ever. So Mason, you there?
I'm here.
You my buddy. Make me proud.
Okay. All right, I wanted to do a little quick recap from the first call that we made, and it all had to do with a particular status. And I have to apologize if there's any background noise at the moment. Anyway, um,
It sounded
the
okay to
most
me. I
important.
don't hear anything really, to be honest with you. But yeah, the
Okay,
the initial stuff being the citizenship papers,
citizenship.
right? That we
Yes,
were talking about exactly. Just
and
want to make sure
and
everybody's
it's
clear on that.
it's the sovereignty element in our system that's unique on the planet, except for Liberia. We talked about that. So we've been led to believe a lot of things about who we are, and all those things are false, and they've been created and put in our way to prevent what we're getting ready to talk about right now, which is actual, true allodium title to the land where you were either born or properly naturalized, and how to acquire the underlying allodium to it. And how this evolves is pretty simple. Most people who live here right now, they've already been indoctrinated into a certain way of buying property. They go through all of this garbage with the banking system and the property title people, the taxing association, and the real estate industry. And it's a monster. And I know that because I just got through doing just what I'm telling you about in order to set the stage for what we're getting ready to do in real time. So the land patent, which if you're on the website, if you can look at that drop down menu in there where it talks about property, you'll notice, and I'm not looking at it myself personally, but I'm gonna quote some of the stuff that's there. We can start off with the word property being, and they want to call it real property. Okay, the land is what we're talking about because the land includes everything above and below the zero level of where you're standing. It includes all the minerals, all the water, everything. They don't want you to think that you have a right to any of that. When in effect, once you've claimed the title allodium, it's all yours, and nobody has the right to come in and say otherwise. So the first steps to this property thing, if you want to look at the actual bottom line title, it's not a land patent, because the land patent is a creature of the monarchy that came here from Europe. It wasn't created by the people here. The people who came here brought this thing with them. And it's been incorporated in a whole bunch of case law all over the place, from the original Indians that were here, who've been granted certain patents, all the way down through all kinds of mine claims and everything like that. But that's not the title to the king. And you go in, if you go in Noah Webster's dictionary, you look up the word allodium and freehold and fee simple. All these little words are attributes that were brought with the founders from England. And the key here is that from the English title, which is in the king, and if you look at Noah Webster's that allodium thing, it says there is no allodium land in England. Why? Because all the land belongs to the crown. There's no title necessary. The title is in the king, and the king is sitting there in a claimed state. He has a claim to the whole thing and all the people in it. So he doesn't have to file something or record something. He's the high guy. Well, in this country, because all those sovereign attributes came with the founders, they brought it with them when the actual act of the revolution took place. It was the activator. And there's a lot of stuff been written about whether or not this revolution actually took place or who actually funded it. The fact remains this: from a hierarchy and a spiritual level in this whole discussion, the people are the sovereign, period, no matter where they might be. It's just a matter of them growing into that position by what they think, what they say, how they do stuff, and how they interact with their fellow man. And all of that is part of this program. So, first and foremost, any claim by the sovereignty is a lawful claim to whatever it is they're claiming. In this case, we're talking about land. Whatever the size might be, however you have managed to dissect this piece of property from the rest of the people's rights. And there's a little element here that you might want to consider too, which is important. There's a doctrine, it's called active state. And this active state is actually an act that is like a treaty, is between sovereigns, sovereignties and sovereigns. And in this country, it's the people. So anytime you make an agreement or a contract with your fellow sovereign, it's technically an act of state. And I think I put a document in the listings on this call so that you can look that up. And it's simply an agreement, a treaty, a contract, which, by the way, those contracts that we talk about, Article 1, Section 10, Clause 1, the government has no say in those contracts. They have nothing to do with it. And if it's in the form of a treaty, simply, and if it's a claim on the land under the allodium, and it's called an act of state, these people that are sitting in this position that we supposedly elected them to, they have no jurisdiction, no authority to even talk about it, let alone legislate over it. But this patent thing has taken hold, and most people that are involved in land in this country don't realize that patent's not necessary, but a lien is. And if the lien is by the sovereign and it's over the allodium, which is the bottom line title of ownership in this country, then it's not something that can even be discussed, even in the court system. And the only person that could object to your claim would be another sovereign. And he would have to have some form of possession and first-time rights to the property before you got there. So all of these little things are part of our land process that most people are going to have to get their head kind of wrapped around what I'm talking about, but it's not complicated. Just remember, at one point in time, the Indians that were here, they had allodium. They didn't need a piece of paper with somebody's seal on it to say it's mine. And they put up a a fence post or a tree or a rock or whatever, and the neighbor next door, he knew where the lines were. He didn't, and he knew to ask permission to come across. It was no big deal. I'm not saying that all was the way our system is going to be, because we're a little bit more awake than the indigenous people were during that particular time. There's a lot of bad history there. But anyway, the point I'm getting at is this. Just because you think you might need something in writing with a seal on it, you don't. Your first most important part is your citizenship, which gives you the right to record a claim. And if the recorder doesn't record it, all you got to do is tape it to the front door of the recorder. And guess what? The military is going to be involved in all these things we're doing right now. And when we start a process that is activating our American common law, that's where the American common law begins. It has to do with your status, your understanding about who you are in the system, your rights under that, which includes your right to liberty and property. And the liberty, that's another matter. We'll get into that at some future call. But right now we're on the land issue. So you have an absolute right to land, because that's the one element that everybody needs in order to survive independent of a system, which is taken over us pretty much, but we're getting rid of that. We're pushing it away. And if you think you got to go to the grocery store every day of your life to buy the food that comes from somebody else's whatever, that's the first thing you want to start paying attention to. You can always start a little garden. It doesn't take a lot. And that little garden can grow based on how much land you have. And you may find there's a way to increase your land by a simple claim. Once you understand the nature of the claim and how you identify it, if you need to go get a meets and bounds, you want it surveyed just for you. There's ways to do this, and if you got a patent available and you got the map book page parcel, the county assessor, and all that, there are indicators on all that document that will help you to identify your property according to that intersecting of the latitude and longitudes in a particular, if it's in a township range and section, or if it's just on a baseline in a particular meridian, and you'll know exactly where you are on the planet with the crosshairs. So you can lay your property out, and nobody can object to that unless it's somebody who's claiming you may have put your mark across the line on their property, and they're going to have to be able to prove they're the title holder of the property you crossed over. So there's another interesting element here. Only freeholders, sovereign state citizens have the right to hold and claim as a freeholder the Allodium title, which is the bottom line. And you don't need the stamp of an alien president, governor, or a patent issued out of some agency where all the people working there are also aliens. And we kind of touched on that with the citizenship thing. So as this thing unfolds, and more people get their head wrapped around the simpleness of what I'm telling you, you get a sheriff and a group of people in your community who are all awake and who start making the proper demands and claims, and the sheriff is willing to arrest somebody because they've trespassed literally on your foreign soil. This is a big piece of this, by the way. Most everybody thinks, no trespassing. I'm saying, well, that's about a quarter of what it needs to say. Because in our world, in the United States of America, the land in the states are foreign to the District of Columbia. And there's case law on this, okay? And they say it in reverse. They say that the District of Columbia is a foreign corporation with respect to the states. And it has no land jurisdiction unless somehow it acquires it for a Fort Arsenal magazine or other needful building. Well, when it comes to the land itself and all the mineral rights and everything, that government has no right, period, to any of that. And especially in the present situation, because there's no qualified people in the government. They're all getting taken care of as well. So we're coming in this present moment in time exactly in a neutral place where all it takes is a little bit of education and the willingness to stand up and maybe go walk into your sheriff's office and say, hey, buddy, I'm citizen so-and-so. I live over here, and I'm setting up a freehold for my property, and I just wanted you to know that you might want to get on board with the situation, because it's going to be very soon where if you're not one of the people, you're an alien. Oops. And if you were elected by a bunch of U.S. citizens, you're an alien. Oops. And if you're living on a deeded property, you're a trespasser, because all the land in this country that has been sold with Federal Reserve notes under a foreign cartel, foreign banking system, and was sold by alien entities, U.S. citizen subject taxpayers, with foreign Federal Reserve money under a what they call a deed, which identifies you if you bought it, suppose. You're now what? You're a tenant. You're no longer any part and parcel of the sovereignty. And these are the words that they've used: resident, tenant, taxpayer. All of these words you've agreed to on all those documents you've been signing the wrong way. And so all that can be corrected, and that's what this exercise is about. It's about bringing the people up into their own true nature, who they are, where they came from, what their intent is, and what they want to do with where they are right now. And if you're not interested in this information that we're giving out right now, you might want to find someplace else to live, because we're migrating very rapidly into exactly what I'm telling you. And it's all going to fall underneath the heading of American common law. And you don't need an attorney, a lawyer. You need somebody who knows what the law is, which all of you can learn without any big deal. You know how to treat your neighbor? You know how to treat your kids? Well, that's part of the common law. And so you're going to learn this as we go through. And if you got questions, there can't be too many out there that don't understand or won't understand what we're talking about right now. It's important. So, Bob, is there anything else you think I might need to interject?
Well, yeah, I mean, this is pretty new. I get where you're coming from on that last little statements and all that, but some of these people are new. They've never heard anything like any of this before. So it is going to be our responsibility to help them, get to that point. And it's going to take us a minute, and that's what we're trying to do here. You guys are not going to be bereft of doing your own homework, though. I mean, we're not here to hold your hand or spoon feed you. We're giving you the information, and then we need you to study on it. This is school, okay, guys? You're not going to get it if you don't check it out, if you don't crack the book, or you don't try to figure it out by what we're telling you. We're trying to give you all the information, but we can't do it for you. So, thanks, Mason. I mean, here's the thing. There's a couple other little tiny bit subjects on the right side of the corporate property. I would like, maybe you want to touch on the vehicles for a second, and maybe you want to touch on the mortgage for a second. What do you think?
Sure. The the whole mortgage, the deed process was set up and created out of the home organizations, if you want to call them that, from the U.S. government and the different state agencies that have come into play, that are now controlling literally the entire real estate industry, and it's a monster. And these things that you sign, that whether you're going to be buying a house in the next month or so, I can't tell you whether or not the banks are going to be collapsed by then. They already sent out the directive that they could no longer loan Federal Reserve notes. That was on March 12th, or March 11th, or rather, the document that we posted.
Yeah, we put that. That was the one that you and I talked about here, I don't know, a couple of calls ago, I guess.
Absolutely. Yep. So the people who are behind all this already know exactly where this is headed. The timeline is based on the people's willingness to stand up and say something about the situation, and they'd be willing to take a step to fix it. And when you go to buy a piece of property in the present system, you got to go through the real estate agency. You got to make contact with your lender, whoever the heck that is, which they're not supposed to be lending anything now. And you're also connected up with the county tax assessor, and on all these other groups, the insurance agencies and title insurance. Oh, it's a mess, and it's a huge mess because it's a scam, and it's only designed to generate numbers in their system, not money. There's no money being transferred in their system. So everything that you've done in your life that you've signed, including this mortgage instrument, the promissory note, is simply numbers and goes into their ledger books that they can use to generate, we'll say, Federal Reserve notes or just lines of credit, because that's all they're dealing with now. They're not printing anymore. They're dead in the water. So I can't give you a timeline on that, but I know it's here and I know it's happening. And the best thing you can do is just kind of keep your head down, try not to get hit with something, loose flying. But don't forget to do your homework. You've got to get up to speed on the common law part of our system, which deals with the proper money, the proper title, and the proper status that is authorized to it. And all the rest of it is just a matter of do something. You're going to know soon enough if it's going to work or not. Don't be afraid. Talk to your local sheriff about something. You might find you may not be totally adverse to what your idea might be about what is the real title here. I want to know. Do you have any ideas? Can you help me out or whatever? He may be interested in your citizenship, especially with that Nebraska state ID thing we've been talking about.
Hey, time out, Mason. Time out. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Your sound quality is deteriorating by the second.
Oh, sorry about that. Is that better? Hello?
It seems better, yes. Yeah, that seems better. Thank you.
Sorry about that.
Right. So, I just want to make sure we were getting to the point to where people were going to have a hard time understanding, and I didn't want to do that. So just continue on. I think you're good now. Good deal.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
So the most important part of this is for you to do a little bit of interaction. I mean, if you guys got a town hall that you may go to once in a while, you might want to visit. And who knows? You may bring up a question in the middle of all of that. You may get people curious enough to want to hear more. And we're at a time right now where that's important. The interaction with your neighbor, if you know them close enough, you may want to talk. I've had a few interactions myself, people that come to do certain things here. And next thing you know, we're kind of chit-chatting about land title. Oh, did you know about this? No, I never heard of that. And, whoa.
All right, we're losing you again, my friend. We're losing you again, Mason. We're losing you again. I'm sorry. You're fading in and out now.
Sorry about it. Okay. Am I back?
Speak into the mic. Yes, you are. Thank you.
Amazing. Okay. All right. Anyway, I think I've covered about everything that I can think of, unless there's something else that's impertinent dealing with the two boxes that we're looking at from title to title or deeds.
I didn't know if you wanted to say anything about the incorporated, state owns the vehicles and all that crap, right? The vehicle registration.
I can touch on that real quick. That's easy.
That'd be good. Yeah, because that'll pretty much complete this box.
Okay, I'll give it to you real quick.
Okay.
Motor vehicle is a commercial vehicle. You'll find it in Title 18, Section 31 under definitions. That's something we can post. You'll also find it under that Section 412 of the 1925 California Statutes at Large, 1925, Section 412. It's a vehicle that is used for the transportation of persons or property for hire. That's what it is, and it's a licensable vehicle. The problem is people, when they buy the car, they never get the title. I don't care if they pay for it or not. The pink slip is not title. There's a document that the seller, and I don't mean the manufacturer, the seller has because it had to come with the vehicle from the manufacturer. It's called a manufacturer's certificate of origin. It's like a birth certificate. The only trouble is that they've led everybody to believe a pink slip is that title, and it's not. And if you don't ask for that and demand the certificate of origin, you still don't own it. Now, let me give you a big piece of this. I happen to have personal knowledge in how do you convert that commercial title over to an Allodium, in effect. Well, everybody gets a registration in the mail to renew every year. And you'll notice that usually in the back of that, there's a bill of sale document. Now, if you look at that, look at your title, your registration, and everything you've ever signed from them, it's all corporate. All you got to do is take that bill of sale and transfer the document of the car over to the real citizen from the straw man. The straw man is the all uppercase. And send that sucker back in. And I'm going to tell you right now, the experiences I've had with that, you never hear another word from the Department of Motor Vehicles because they have no jurisdiction over the sovereign. That's that signature that I told you about. So that's just one little interesting aspect of it. And once you've done that, there's another whole level of claims that you can make against the state dealing with exempt plates. And that's what you'll find if you go on that California 1925 website. That's specific to exempt plates, and the county and the state is responsible. There's no charge for that because you have a right to travel in your private capacity. And they have an obligation to make sure that that vehicle you're in, that automobile, that transport, is identified correctly according to their jurisdiction. And if they don't give you an exempt plate, they violated your right to travel. As a sovereign, that's a treasonable act. And there's going to be a lot of stuff that's going to show up with respect to this one issue. So I think did that cover it?
Yeah, yeah, that's pretty in your face. I mean, the other taxes, is another thing too. So, when people start understanding that this stuff is there, and the only reason it's there is because they've let it be there, then things will change over time. But the problem is, it's hard to get all this out to a great number of people because, quite frankly, everybody thinks that we're crazy.
Well, there's an interesting part about that principle. 1 and 1 make 2, 2 and 2 make 4. You keep doubling that number. It doesn't take long. It gets pretty huge. So, and by the way,
that's the fact, Jack, and it wouldn't take very long for everybody to get on board. But everybody's got to believe it, and everybody's got to be willing to take a freaking stance and an action.
Exactly. And if you're a corp, if you have a business. And you're thinking about maybe how do I get this thing out from underneath the corporate rules? You might take the signs down, send back a revocation of your election, and nullify the corporate charter that you have agreed to. Make sure you got a no trespassing, you're entering foreign soil by invitation only on the front door. And I know about that foreign soil thing, and I'll tell you, and if you want a quickie, I'll tell you. I had a very close friend who did.
You don't like to have a quickie, but not from you.
Who did this?
Never mind.
He had a business, but he wasn't a state citizen. He wasn't qualified. And he put you are entering foreign soil on the front of his business inside this mall. And the Secret Service showed up on his doorstep and told him, take the sign down and don't ever do that again. And the reason is because when you identify your ground as foreign, the system has no jurisdiction over it. And if they trespass without your permission, they are committing an act of war against a sovereign, not one of their resident aliens.
Yep.
That's a big piece. And that little document that I posted for you, Bob, to put in the room.
Right, I'll get that in there.
It talks about act of state, and it's a very important element in all of this.
I'll get that over to Ellen, right after we're done here.
Okay. Other than that,
so what happened to dude? Did he have to take a sign down? I'm interested in the rest of the story there.
That was the Secret Service. They said, no, you take the sign down, don't put it back up. And the reason is because he was not qualified.
Did he do that?
Yes, he did. You bet he did.
Gotcha.
In fact, his name is on this Telegram thing here. I'm not going to say who it is, but I haven't heard from him personally about 2 years. But he's the guy that helped us learn about the Federal Reserve and how to walk into their building and demand and claim our accounts. So, but we didn't do that either.
Gotcha.
They said no, good enough.
Yeah, let's not push the envelope. Is what it is. Well, this is good stuff. I mean, you guys got to understand that we're trying to teach you what's been done and how to get out from under some of this stuff. So I know we've got a long way to go. And then at some point in time, I guess we'll probably have some some information on helping these guys get some of this done if they can't figure it out for themselves. I don't know why they wouldn't be able to, quite frankly, with the information we're giving them too. But we may get into some more information depending upon the questions that are received back. You know what I mean? Right? Does that sound okay with you, Mason?
Absolutely. And by the way, before the call today, I was on a call with a gentleman from Europe out of nowhere, dealing with my phone, and we talked for an hour and a half. That's why I didn't get back to Jester. And this guy, he's 100% on everything that we're talking about right now, and their whole system is in the same condition, but they haven't gotten the word, just like most of the people here haven't yet, that we're actually in a transition period. Martial law has been declared, and this whole system is getting ready to cave in. And the rest of the arrests are going to be taking place in a very short period of time. There's a small window here now that's getting ready to open.
Short's a relative word, but I get it. I hear you, brother. We're all waiting for short.
That's for sure.
All right, Elephant. I think we got everything covered here. If you'd like to make sure and let us know if there's anything else we need to do before we, it's about beer 30, I think.
That's yeah. No, that was great. We can end it here. So I will. I'll be posting a few things in the room underneath the call that might help you guys kind of understand and kind of follow along what we're talking about, and we'll get the active state posted in there too, so everyone can take a look at it. And it's amazing if you really kind of sit down and read these things, how empowering it is. So take your time and read things and understand them. But yeah,
do you mind if I ask you for one other thing?
Sure.
It'd be helpful to know if we're getting anywhere with this. If people are reading this and they are even just checking in or they're following along, if you'd put like a little thumbs up or something that kind of indicates that we're helping anybody, it's kind of like okay, we're out here doing this, but we don't know if anybody appreciates it or not, because quite frankly, we're not getting a lot of feedback from. We got a half a dozen people that are interfacing with us, and that's about it, right? It would be nice to know what the several hundred other people that are in this room are thinking, whether it's just hey, we're following along or whatever. And I don't know, is that something that's okay for me to ask for?
Yeah, of course. That's okay to ask for it. I think too. I think most people, I have seen things kind of pick up where people are, giving us a little bit of, thumbs up, or so there is a little bit more of that happening in the room. So, but yeah, it would be nice that people would be like, oh, I found that helpful, or can you explain a little bit further if they have more questions about it, stuff like that. That would be good.
One comment.
So yeah.
Let me tie this whole conversation with something that's already been in the chat for a little while. If you go and look up the first plank in the Communist Manifest, you'll see the direct connection.
We put that in there. Yeah.
You'll see the direct connection with the land and the land patents, the little titles, the active state. It's all right there in their wording. They want to get rid of property, private property.
Right.
And that makes everything taxable, and that tax is what they use and put it into the so-called state's coffers, which is a lie. So I just wanted to tie those two together.
All right.
All right. We digress for a second, but here's getting back to what I was talking about. Thank you for bringing that up, Mason, because that's obviously important too. But there's 347 members in this room, and there's only what I can see, like 4 to 9 people that are actually interacting at all. So I'm wondering what the other 340 people are doing, for one thing. And if you're even reading this, maybe just shoot us I don't know, a thumbs up or a heart or whatever you like to do, so that we know you give a crap. Because we're spending a lot of time on this, and not that I wouldn't do it for 7 people, but damn, I was hoping we'd get a little more reach than that. So anyway, it's the honor system, and we're not doing this for any other reason than trying to help as many people as we can. But I'd like to know that was more than 7 people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Am I being being greedy?
No, I don't think you're being greedy. No, I mean, it is nice to at least know that people are paying attention, and that we're not just spinning our wheels over here. So yeah, no, I get it.
Well, we're spending quite a bit of time, you and me and Mason, getting ready for these calls, making sure that we got the information proper. We spent, I don't know, 3 hours on questions yesterday, and I'm not getting a warm fuzzy feeling that everybody's all happy with this. You know what I mean? Because I, quite frankly, am not getting much feedback, and so I'm just curious if everybody would just, if they just slap a thumbs up on the call or something when you see this, that you listen to it, and yeah, we're on the right place and all that sort of thing. That's all.
Yeah, that's not
Thank you.
unreasonable. That's not unreasonable.
Great.
Yeah, not
Thank you.
unreasonable. All right. You're welcome. Okay. Any last comments or smart remarks?
Smart remarks. I know this is good stuff, and believe you me, the list of people who are going to get on the train here, it'll be more than we can handle. That's why we have people that'll be coming along behind to help us. So
that's right. We're not the only ones in this, guys. We're not the only ones that know about this.
The whole planet's involved.
That's not the kind of smart remark I was thinking about, but it's way better than mine.
How about we think you're a 10, and we want to have a date for Friday night. All right, that's my smart remark about the RV. That's my date and rate smart remark. Hey, you're the one that asked for smart remarks, so you know what you're going to get, right?
I'll give you a smart remark. Bring on the money.
Yeah, there you go.
That's right.
I'll have an update. I'll have an update for. I will have an update on that tonight too. So we'll see.
That's right. Show us the money. All right. I will. I'll probably listen to your call, Jester, or later on tonight. So,
it'll be a good one, I think.
Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you so much. What's that?
Okay.
It'll be a good one.
Thank you.
Night. See you, Mason. I'll probably talk to you here in a little bit. All right.
Everybody.
Okay, you bet.
All right. Bye. See you next
Bye.
time.
Bye.
Bye.
See you later. Bye.